Hello and welcome to the video tutorial on file backup using NovaStor DataCenter software. We'll be creating a backup job and then covering all of the options involved in that job. So to create a file backup job, we're going to go to the left side, click on Backup Jobs, and then in the empty space you'll right click, do a New, and then File here. Once in the job properties, you'll define a job name. So go ahead and type in your job name here, and once done you'll go to Node Group pull down menu. This is just to pick the client that you do want file backup on, and in our case we'll pick App Server. Click File, select File Set to select the files from that computer, and in our case we're gonna see a list of the hard drives here. We have 2 hard drives on this computer for backup. You'll pick the, in this case, E drive. And we're going to work with one folder on the E drive where we want to back up just that one folder. And so I'm going to highlight and drag and drop that folder over to the right side in the Include Files box. And that's going to add that one folder on the E drive into our backup job. You do have the ability to exclude files on the bottom right, and bottom of the screen you'll have Add Root Drive Share. That'll add the entire E drive, if we click on that, to this job, as well as the option for Add All Hard Drives. That adds an object called $all as all hard drives on this computer. In our case, we're going to remove those bottom 2 entries. We only want the one folder. So we'll go into test backup folder and show you how to exclude a folder. So you can simply highlight the big folder, for example, and drag and drop any folders that you want to exclude, folders and files that is, over to the exclude files box there. So that tells it to exclude the big subfolder from within the test backup folder. Click OK when done, and you'll see the listing of our file set, what we want to include and exclude from the backup. So the plus means include, the minus means exclude. Right side we have backup scheme. Those are the types of backup jobs, so it's always going to be a full backup as the default, but we do have many other choices here and we'll cover those now. So we have incremental, differential, full and incremental combo job, and then a full and differential combination job as well. So to go over the options, normally you would for sure create a full backup job at some point. You would have to have a full backup in order to create an incremental backup job or differential job. And an incremental job in this case is a backup of since the last full or incremental, and a differential backup job is a backup of the changes since the last full occurred. And so every time that differential runs, it just backs up since the last full ran. So that type of job can grow in size every day that you run it, compared to an incremental, which is basically the exact changes since either the last full or incremental ran. Differential is, again, a backup since the last full ran, so it can grow in size quite a bit compared to incremental. The combination jobs here are just your ability to select one item as far as backup scheme, and it'll create a 2 jobs, one as a full and one as an incremental, or one as a full and one as a differential. So it just saves you time in defining your job. It still will store 2 jobs, one as the full and one as the either incremental or differential. And so it's just a time saver there. And so like I said, you do have to have a full backup to use incremental or differential, but there's 2 ways to do it. In our case, we'll pick the combination job, full-differential. And over in the Target Schedule tab, we'll click on that. That'll allow us to select the media pool, so that's the destination target folder or device where we're going to be backing up to. And you have the choice to differentiate the full versus the differential in this case as to where the backups are going to go. The full can go to target A and the differential can go to target B if you'd like to. Select the disk pool from the pull down menu, and that can be either a disk or a tape, or an auto changer, or a tape autoloader, that is. In our case, we have a disk pool defined already, so ultimately we're going to use that, but we do have a single tape pool and a tape library at the bottom to use. And in this case, we're going to go with the disk pool, disk 0001, which is a disk pool that's stored on the command server machine. So it's a folder that you defined as a disk pool on this particular machine. You have a full backup schedule here, pull down menu to choose your schedule for the full job. In our case, we're going to go with a weekly, but you do have other choices here, including the ability to create your own schedule at the top. Actually, we'll go with a monthly for this one as your full. So once a month, it's going to run this full backup job. On the right side, you have your differential options for targets. We're going to go ahead and go with the disk pool again for where we want to back up to, but you could choose a different media pool for that. In our schedule area for the differential backup, we're going to pick daily, of course. So again, it's going to be a once a month full and a daily differential. And then once you're done with these schedule options, you can click OK. And just to go over, we have that once a month full and the daily differential, and then go to Options tab. Options tab will show you on the left side the full backup options, and the right side you'll have the differential backup options. And we'll cover those advanced options here. So click on the Advanced Options tab. Once you're in Advanced Options, you'll see a lot of options here, but by default, most options will work for everybody. You can certainly go and change the options and play around with them to your liking. Once done, you'll click on the General Options area. Covering the general options, you have Use Client Compression as the first option. RLE compression is the default, but you do have zlib 1 through 9 here. RLE is the most CPU optimized, but least compression zlib 1 would be a little bit more compression, more CPU usage, and zlib 9 would be the most compression with the highest CPU usage. And Use Client Parallel Splits is a feature here. You would want to enable this to optimize your file-based backups, and we do recommend to enable it. This option allows you to split the data into sections of equal size that are then processed simultaneously. This can greatly increase the speed of the backup and is similar to multi-threading. If you are to enable client parallel splits, it is recommended to start with a value of 4, we find. You do have the ability to add system state to your file backup, and that's going to be items such as your registry and Active Directory. You have client software encryption, and you have limit network bandwidth to limit that bandwidth that the job uses. Once you're done with the general options here, you can go ahead and click the OK button here at the bottom. And back in the backup jobs, you'll have those two new items created. One is File Backup Full, and one is File Backup Differential. You can right-click the job and be able to edit it later if you'd like to. Just to note, you will have to have your full backup completed prior to either differential or incremental. So in our case, we're going to run that full file-based backup job by right-clicking on it, and we're going to first do a connectivity test here to make sure the connection is good between the files, the client machine, the backup server, and the storage target. And in our case, that's all good. We can click Close. We can right-click again on the job and do a Start. It's going to show you the job name. You can click OK at the bottom, and we're going to go monitor that job by clicking on Monitoring here on the top left. And the job just started. It's showing the amount of data transferred out of 3.9 gigs. It shows the date and time, and it shows that the job just finished actually. So in this case, this job is done, and we are done also with the video tutorial on DataCenter file backup.